Hello friends, Mandar here. I'm back with another video. If you are a non-immigrant, watch this video because there are some important points that I'm going to discuss. Want to study in the US? Watch your social media account. Let's talk about it. What's happening with the OPT after graduation? Then we'll talk about the travel ban that is just been introduced. We'll talk about visa revocation situations. I have come across one or two situations related to that. Let me clarify more things about travel and the anxiety during the travel. We'll also talk about some visa frauds that are happening. We'll talk about habeas corpus. What does that mean? And finally, the EB1A success rate that you might be interested in. So a lot of important topics, guys. Watch this video until the end and let's get started. If you are here for the first time, welcome. My name is Mandar and I make immigration and lifestyle related videos for US and Canada. I'm not an immigration lawyer, so anything that I say on this video or on my channel is for information purpose only. And for your specific immigration needs, before you take any action, you should hire a competent immigration lawyer. Check out the links in the description because those are affiliate links and you might find something interesting and that will also support the channel. And those are really the things that you can do to give the lifeline to this channel. Also, if you want to talk to me, check the Calendly link in the description. You can schedule 30 minutes call with me where I give non-legal advice, but from my experience, years of talking to people in different situations. There is a lot happening in the immigration space, so let's look one thing at a time. Now check out the links in the description because there are some new links, especially with the Ultra Human Ring. You'll get 10% discount if you use the code in the description. Now this ring I have been wearing for a long time and it has changed my life. The biggest thing I like about this ring is sleep tracking. It gives me insights into how I slept and why I slept the way I did, depending on what my previous day looked like. And the best of all, it does not have any subscription model. Ultrahuman was kind enough to send me this ring and provide me a affiliate link or the code Mandar, which you can add when you are checking out while buying the ring and you will get 10% discount. Now, first of all, I wanted to talk about studying in the United States. Now, recently, a lot of universities are doing their convocation ceremony where they are graduating students from universities. Here in the Boston area, there are a lot of universities, top universities. So it's been a busy couple of weeks. But there is also an emerging trend that I wanted to warn you about. Now, students who are graduating out of the universities who are on OPT, they have two things that they have to worry about. The first one is they have only 60 days to search for a job. And if they cannot search for a job, it's not possible for them to live in the country. Now, there are some workarounds where they can do some volunteering jobs or do some jobs that are easier to get for non-profit organizations. So that's what students end up doing so that they can lock in their date in service system for up to a year. That allows them to continue to search for a job while they remain in the United States. Now that is one important thing. Second thing is the job market. Right now, as I'm talking to people, job market is not that great. Students who are freshly graduate, if they don't have any experience or any work experience in the past, they are finding themselves in a situation where they are not getting any calls. Or even if they are getting calls, there are hundreds of applications that are for the same job. So that is the current job market. It's not great. So I just wanted to kind of warn people because many students and their parents take loans to come out to the United States to help them pay for the tuition fees and so on. And that loan is quite large. I have heard anywhere between 50 lakhs, 1 crore or even more than 1 crore to come to the United States. Now that is a significant amount for your parents back in India to pay out. So it's very important for you to find a job that will help pay off that loan. And that is why my message to the new students coming to the United States is think about the job market, think about what courses that you are going to do and what is the job situation in those courses. There are a lot of consultants out there who encourage people to apply for universities and come to the United States only to see that after you graduate, there is no pathway to get a job or you have to fight incredible odds to get your first job. So keep that in mind. So that is the first point that I wanted to cover. Now, second thing that I wanted to cover is if you are a student in the United States, it's not a dual intent visa. What does dual intent mean is they are not expected to remain in the country and apply for a green card. Student visa means that you complete the studies, get some practical training, get some OPT training, and go back to wherever you came from. That is what the intent of the student visa is. Now, whenever you apply for a visa, you need to remember what the intent is and talk accordingly. Some people fall into the trap that they think that as usual, you will go to the United States, study through the visa, get a work permit, apply for a green card, and you think that it's okay to tell the visa officer all these things when you're getting a visa. And that is not true. You have to be very careful. You have to say that I'm going to United States, study, and then come back. That is going to be your answer. That should be your answer. The second thing is, do not engage in any kind of controversial situations while you are studying in the United States, especially political situations. Now, nowadays, everything is recorded, everything is on social media, and people record by the phones. So you are not hidden. Now, I'm not saying you cannot exercise your freedom of speech, but given the current environment, you want to be mindful of what situations you want to be part of and what situations you need to be removing yourself from. So keep that in mind, because that can come back to haunt you in your visa situations. Also, watch your social media feed. What you post on the social media, what you upload, those are the things that USCIS is looking at. Even the Department of State, when they issue you a visa at the consulates, they are looking at. So make sure your social media accounts are clean of any political affiliations. Do not participate in conversations that are extreme. Keep it to social engagement and normal social interaction. So that would be my advice for the people who are on the visa, not just student visa, for that matter, any visa that you are. Now, this leads me to my next point, which is the travel ban. Now, President Trump has just put an executive order for certain countries to travel that will not be able to get their visas starting June 9th. Now, this is not applicable to green cards. Those people from those countries can still apply for their green cards at the consulates. As far as I understand, reading from this, they are saying that restricting the entry of foreign nationals to protect the United States from foreign terrorists and other national security and public safety threats. So this is what they are talking about. So there are certain number of countries now full suspension of entry for nationals of countries identified concern. So that is Afghanistan, Burma, Chad, Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Yemen, Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, Turkmenistan, Venezuela, and so on. And this applies to people who are actually outside of the United States. So they are not going to revoke the visas for people of these nationals who are already in the US. So that is a good news. So if you have a visa that was issued to you before June 9th, then you are good. You can still come back. But if you don't have a visa and if you are planning to get a visa, you better get it before June 9th, because after that, they will not issue you a visa. Now, another thing to remember is just because you have a visa doesn't automatically guarantee that you can enter into the United States. The final authority of who comes in and who cannot lies with CBP, Customs and Border Protection. So they are the people who are at the port of entry, CBP officers. Though they have a lot of discretion, make a decision on who can enter the United States. So just because you have a visa doesn't guarantee you entry into the United States. So keep that in mind. Another thing that I wanted to clarify is this does not apply to permanent residents or green card holders. So green card holders, as long as you don't have any major issues, you are good to travel in and out of the United States. Now, there is an interesting question that I got from a couple of students. Now, this question is, if your visa is revoked, can you still stay within the country? Now, there are a couple of answers. If you talk to lawyers, that is the first thing that you should do. If your visa gets revoked, if your service accounts gets terminated, or if your student visa gets revoked, you should first contact an immigration lawyer and find out what are the options you have. There may be a couple of options that you may have, and that those may be very difficult to get. By the way, there is a reason why they revoked your visa in the first place. So if you try to go to another visa, you'll still have some problem. But there is an appeals process that you can do, that you can follow, and as long as that is in process, you can remain in the country. Now, don't assume that after your visa is revoked, unless you take some certain steps, you can remain in the country. you should consult a lawyer. You should find out if there is a ground for you to stay in the United States. If not, leave the country, because that you don't want to accumulate unlawful presence in the US, because that will come to haunt you later on. So my answer is, it's very critical for you to take some action with your attorney if your visa is revoked. Now another anxiety is travel anxiety. I have made a couple of videos just before this video to talk about them, but I want to reiterate that if you have a valid visa, if you have a green card, if you have an advance parole which is valid, you don't need to worry about travel. You can go travel and come back. Now only people who need to worry about travel is if they have something in their background check. Now what do I mean by that? Anything that puts you into inadmissible state. So inadmissible state is violent crimes, domestic violence, DUIs, driving under influence, and those sort of things. If you are ever arrested, that could also be a problem. So if you have any of those situations, or even if you had overstayed your visa in the past, or if you had any unlawful presence in the United States in the past, or if you had any rejections to your visas in the past, those are the situations that you need to worry about. If you don't have any of those, you don't have to worry about travel. I have heard from many people that lawyers are basically suggesting people not to travel regardless of anything. And I would say, from my personal experience, I talk to people every day hundreds and thousands of people go outside the country and come back on a visa, no problem. The only things that you hear in the news are people who have background check problems. So keep that in mind. Now, a couple of questions like, if there is a travel ban, will that impact in a positive way for the visa bulletin for the backlog countries? Now these countries that they have listed out for a full travel ban starting June 9th, those countries don't take many visas. So there are only a handful of few hundred or maybe few thousand visas that those countries go to those countries, especially in the employment based category. So I wouldn't say there's going to be any significant impact or positive impact to the EB category in the visa bulletin. Now, if you are going to study at Harvard, there are going to be a lot of restrictions because there is a fight going on between Trump administration and Harvard University. Now, people who have gotten their admissions and who have gotten their visas already, they may not have any issue. But if you still don't have a visa to come in September, then you might face some problem. Now, there is another interesting article that I wanted to share. It's about visa fraud. Now, this is directly on the USCIS website, so I thought that this might be something that you might want to understand. Now, Indian national pleads guilty to visa fraud conspiracy. Now, what did this national do? Unfortunately, it's in my hometown, Boston. 37 years of age, pleaded guilty to one count of conspiracy to committing visa fraud. Now, what did this person do? They carried out a staged armed robbery of at least 9 convenience and liquor stores and fast food restaurants across the United States, including at least 5 in Massachusetts. The purpose of the staged robbery was to allow the store clerk to claim that they were victims of violent crime and on an application for U non-immigrant status visa. The U visa is available to victims of certain crimes who have suffered mental or physical abuse and who have been helpful to law enforcement in investigation or prosecution of criminal activities. Now, this is incredible. To what lengths do these criminals go just to get a non-immigrant visa? So don't fall into these traps. Don't take any step that will put your immigration profile in jeopardy in the near future, because currently the environment for non-immigrants is not so good. So you follow the law, stick to your rules, and don't do anything that will put your immigration status in danger. That would be my suggestion. Now, there was a question regarding habeas corpus. What is this? I mean, what it means is nobody can detain you for no reason. So it's a legal procedure by which a report can be made to a count alleging unlawful detention or imprisonment of an individual, requesting that the court order the individual's custodian to bring the prisoner to the court to determine whether their detention was lawful or not. Now, this applies to people who are being arrested by ICE or law enforcement for their status in the United States. So if you believe that you have been detained for no reason, and it could be for any reason for that matter, not just an immigration situation, but if you are detained by the law enforcement, you can request the habeas corpus, in the sense that you need to get a court order to have you appear before a judge who can determine whether your detention was lawful or not. So that is something that you have in your control. Talk to a lawyer what it means, because even if you may not be aware, but there are a lot of people who normally wouldn't get affected by this but are getting affected in the current environment. And finally, I wanted to talk about EB1A. Now, I've been doing EB1A masterclass for almost a year and a half now. I did at least 15 to 16 EB1A masterclass. There has been an overwhelming response to my classes. Every other class, I have many students who participate and give range of information for me to share with my next group. Now, the positive thing is, every week I get at least 3 to 4 people reporting back to me that their EB1 was approved or EB1A was approved. Many of those attended my masterclass and they got some useful tips to carry through their process. Now, this is a good news because I only heard like handful of situations where their visas were rejected or I-140s were rejected, but vast majority of the people have reported that they got their EB1A. Now, your case has to be strong. You need to understand which criteria you need to apply for. You need to understand what are the valid documents that you need to submit to fulfill those criteria. What are the pitfalls to avoid, to avoid RFEs and so on. So it is incredibly important to do your homework. If you are well prepared, then you can go with any consultant or lawyer to file your petition and you'll get your petition approved. So this is very encouraging. I wanted to share this information that people who are on the fence to decide whether they should apply for their EB1A case, I would highly recommend go ahead and do it, but do it in a proper way. If you want to reach out to me for consultation, please check out the link in the description for Calendly to set up some time with me. Also look out for the link for the next masterclass. So that's all I wanted to say in this video. If you like the content of this video, hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel. And by the way, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, because if you put a meaningful comment, which I do read by the way, you'll be put into the next giveaway, which will be a Samsung Galaxy Watch by the end of this month. Talk to you later. Bye.
And that brings me to the sponsor of today's video. Have you ever done the Google search of your own name? Look what I have found when I did mine. Here's what comes up. While some of this information is relevant, the other makes me uncomfortable that my information is exposed for a sale like this. Data brokers sell your information to scammers, spammers, or anybody else who may want to target you. Your full name, email address, home address, your relatives' names, health information, it's all out there. That's why I have been using Aura, sponsor of today's video. Aura shows me which data brokers are selling my information and automatically submits opt-out request for me. Cleaning up my information not only helps reduce the amount of spam I get, but it also protects me from hackers who could use this information to help them access my social media accounts, bank accounts, or other sensitive information. Aura does so much more to protect my information and my family's information from online threats I can't see. I get other features like antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more without having to download several different apps. It's really easy to set up, and best of all, I get everything for one affordable price. You may already have one or two of these tools, but not having Aura is like locking the front door but leaving your back door wide open. Aura is always on, doing the hard work of keeping me safe so I can focus on other tasks with peace of mind. I value my privacy and I value yours. You can go to my link which is on the screen and in the description and start your free 2 weeks trial. So protect your information, your family, and have a peace of mind. That's Aura.